Well, I've just about finished cleaning the crankcases now. I've actually had them in front of a heater so that all the water disperses and comes off them. Now, I'm not ready to be putting it back together yet, but what I'm intending to do in this video is to do the gearbox bearings, which seems a bit counterintuitive. However, it's a lot easier to work on this like this than it is when it's actually got the crank in it and the other half connected to it. So the two gearbox bearings I'm going to do is the high speed one and the needle bearing that's got a closed cap on it. So that's what my intention is, to get them in. Now all this is part of my T140V project, which I'm doing a Resta mod desert sled. It's a near re-imported bike. I know I say this every time, but this might be the only video you ever watch. Last time I said, why have you got that grotty towel hanging over the wheel? Well, indeed, why? But it's always handy to have a towel for wiping mud and dirt and grease and stuff off your hands. And occasionally throw it away, replace it with another dog towel. Not to worry. Right, on with what I'm doing. In the workshop manual, it does say heat the cases to 100 degrees centigrade before you take the bearings out, right? So I'm going to bang it in the oven to do that. It also says have them at 100 degrees centigrade when you put the bearings in. So they're going to be a bit hot, aren't they? So let's get it in the oven, see how we go on. Oh, coffee as well. Thank you so much. Give us a kiss.
I'm just having my breakfast.
And while I'm waiting, I might as well have a quick look at the bearings I've got to go in the crankcase. So that's the open gearbox bearing. That one goes into the cover, the inner cover. That's the closed gearbox bearing, so that's the one I need this morning. Let's have a quick look at this one. That's definitely a crank bearing. So that's the other crank bearing. You can tell by how hefty they are. So this one must be the 5-speed high gear bearing. So that's the one that's going to go in. And the other thing I'm going to need is a seal. And I've got this set of seals, which I've had for a while. And I would believe it's likely to be that one. Does look very likely, doesn't it? Let's put the others away safe. Well, that's been about half an hour. So let's have a see. 71. It does say 100 on that bit. 100 on there. Only 65 on that bit. What I think I'll do is I'll turn it over and give it another 10 minutes. I think that might be in the recipe. I've set this on to about 140 because obviously it's got to get the heat into it. Bit of smoke. Well, I'm definitely at the 100 now. So let's not go over egging it. Turn it all off. Oven gloves on. Let's get it on the bench before it cools off too much. There we go. Feel the warmth through the gloves. So let's turn it over. I'll go and get little blocks of wood. Nice and solid. Before I take this needle one out, what I want to do is have a look on the other side, because there's a thrust washer that its lip on it has got to actually, this seats against. So let's have a quick look at that if we can. And you can see how it is stuck out a little way. You can also see that that washer bearing is completely snookered, but not to worry. There is a special tool for this, which I haven't got. But what I am going to use, 1/2 inch socket, that's my 9/16, a reasonably sized hammer. And there we do, have it out. And I'm pretty confident that fell through as well. The next thing is take out this seal. So it's a case of prizing it with a screwdriver really. You might have a seal puller for it. Came out easy enough. And there is a big snap ring. So let's get the circlip pliers. And let's hope we don't go everywhere with this. Let's hope it doesn't snap at me. Right, nearly there. And just to get that last bit, there we go. I can see from the grit in here, I'm not going to put the bearings straight back in. I'm going to drive this one out, and then I'm going to give the cases in this area a better clean before I do that. It's also pretty obvious if you hadn't worked it out. I need to turn the case over to actually get that out because it's going to come this way. Let's see what we can do here. That's interesting. The thing I'm finding interesting is there's no inner race here. I'm going to have to hit it on the rollers to get it out, which doesn't seem ideal. Now I found a 29mm socket that'll sit on those rollers nicely in that hole. I'm going to support this a little bit better and then give it a bit of a tap and see how it works. I think it'll be out by now. And there we have it out. And everything inside looks fine. Having got it out, I thought I'll just look at the bearing that I'm replacing it with. As you can see, this Hepalite one is built a bit more substantially around the rollers. Let's hope that's a good sign. It's actually a bit muckier than I thought it was. I thought I'd actually cleaned off a lot of the media and such like. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to put the new bearings in at this point. I think what I'll do is I'll give it a good clean again, get the crank out, get the crank assembled ready to go in. Then when I heat this to 100 degrees, I'll be able to put the crank in at the same time. And I think that's one lot of cleaning, one lot of heating, and I think that should work out quite well. So I haven't quite got as far as I'd fully intended to, and common sense kicks in. Cleanliness is next to godliness, and although I thought I'd given this a good clean out, I hadn't thought about the media that might be trapped behind that seal. Bit daft. I mean, we do that. Never be afraid with your project though to just stop. Don't carry on just because you feel you need to get it done at that time. If you are really time limited, doing this kind of a project is not the right thing for you. So I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to actually get the crank out and put that together. I think that'll be the next video. Thanks very much for watching.